All Access, an inside look at what it takes to operate Iowa's largest entertainment and convention facilities. This is Iowa Events Center All Access from Iowa Everywhere.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of All Access here on the Iowa Everywhere Podcast Network, presented by the Iowa Event Center. Matt Van Winkle, Adam Flack, Director of Marketing at the Iowa Event Center, here for another episode. And we got a special guest today. It's Chris Connolly from the Event Center. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
We got a cool topic that we're really just going to dive into first today, Adam. I know you guys made a big announcement. You want to let people know what's coming to Wells Fargo Arena come September?
Yeah, we're pretty excited. Sunday, September 22nd at 6 p.m., we've got Des Moines Community Classic presented by our partners at Community Choice, which we're bringing NHL preseason hockey back to the arena. So we're going to have the Utah Hockey Club facing off with the St. Louis Blues, and tickets are on sale now for that game. And we're pretty excited to dig into this and talk about, why that game came about, why it's being played in Des Moines.
Very cool. I know we were talking before this. The Blues have played at Wells Fargo Arena in the past, back in 2018 against the Minnesota Wild, so they'll be making their return. But Chris, this is a really cool opportunity. The Utah Hockey Club, as they're being known right now, is going to be making their first appearance in Des Moines. This is a pretty cool get for you guys.
Yeah, very cool and really unique, in how all this came about. And we've gotten questions and mostly positive, right? Like, people are psyched that the NHL is coming back. And this is a little different opportunity that we had in the past. The last game we had Minnesota and St. Louis, and obviously Minnesota's part of us with the Iowa Wild. This one took a little bit of a different angle. And it's crazy that we're talking about this now. It was months in the making. We went back to October, where we got approached by the Arizona Coyotes at the time, who were playing at Mullet Arena, which is managed by the Oakview Group, which is our company. And it's on the campus of Arizona State. And, they were potentially looking at playing a preseason game out in the Midwest. And, obviously Wells Fargo Arena's got a really good reputation, and they expressed interest in playing here. And, from there, it was like a jumping off point. It's like, okay, what do we need to do? We were excited about the opportunity, but at the same time, as far as timing goes, we're just in the process of extending the Iowa Wild and the relationship here. And, we felt like we needed to have a conversation with our Iowa guys and Minnesota and just make sure everybody was on board. And to be honest with you, and just talking to Todd Frederickson, who's the president of the team, and then Allie Brown here on site, they couldn't have been better about the situation and more gracious. And, the way they looked at it is, instead of saying, hey, that stinks that Minnesota's not playing here, they looked at it as a way to grow the game. And it's NHL hockey coming on. And really, their take was, how can we be a part of this thing? So a lot of conversations took place over the months. And like, as we're all aware, Arizona Coyotes have turned into the Utah Hockey Club. And it's great. As Adam mentioned, we're going to host this preseason game in September. And, we looked into it. And as the national preseason schedule was announced by the NHL, this will be the Utah Hockey Club's first official professional game. And it'll happen in Des Moines, which is pretty neat.
That is pretty cool. And I think of just the growth of hockey in the state. Did it start with the Iowa Chops back in the day? I'm trying to remember. Was it the Stars? Were they first? Just thinking about the growth of hockey, though, as the Minnesota Wild, dip their toes in here with the Iowa Wild, and we've seen the success there. This is really cool that hockey is taking this leap here, and you guys obviously are trying to catch on to that here with bringing this preseason game. It's a really great opportunity to see some high-level hockey. I don't know if for people who are listening that were back in 2018, it's pretty cool that you get to see these professional players right here in Des Moines.
It's really cool. And, although it is a preseason game, these guys are getting ready for the real thing. So while we may not get all of the starters or stars, we definitely anticipate to have some of them. And then you have a new team in general with the Utah Hockey Club, and new uniforms and a new franchise. And, look, the number of season ticket deposits outnumbered the seats they have in the building there where they're going to play. So there's obviously a lot of excitement about that team. We know firsthand that there's a lot of fans here in this area that like the St. Louis Blues, and a lot came out last time against Minnesota.
Right.
Great opportunity, number one, to host hockey. And, as you mentioned, Matt, grow the game. But you just look across the state, and we've had it was great opportunity for us. Like even over in Coralville, Iowa, with the Iowa Heartlanders who affiliate with the Iowa Wild, we're able to put out a pre-sale code to those guys. So we gave them an opportunity to purchase tickets to this game as well. So it all kind of feeds together along with the Bucks, the Iowa Wild. And again, being able to grow the sport, awesome opportunity.
HiVTix.com if you want to get in on the action here. That game again is coming up Sunday, September 22nd. So really coming up pretty quick. As you mentioned, this has really been in the works for a long time. How do you guys, as you have set this date now, how do you guys prepare for hosting these teams?
That's a really good question, because we're right in the middle of that. And
yeah.
I think, honestly, Matt, where this one's different, last time Minnesota and the Iowa Wild ran point, right? Like they have that infrastructure. They have all those people that are used to putting these games on all the time. And look, I think that's the neat thing in being able to talk to the Iowa Wild. Like we're going to utilize a lot of their staff. Like you talk about ice crew, off ice officials, like even game production folks. Like we're going to try and get all of those people involved. And honestly, we just announced and put this game on sale. So we got a lot of work to do in the next couple months. But we'll definitely work with them and lean on their expertise. And then on our end, it was, as Adam mentioned, it was a great opportunity to get some of our own partners involved, like Community Choice Credit Union, great partner, naming rights partner. They're presenting this game. And again, we're at financial risk on bringing this in and making it happen. And to be able to bring in our own partners and sell sponsorship and advertising, really good opportunity. And it gives some of our folks here, something that's kind of outside their lane. That's not the norm. Yeah. So again, just across the board, really good opportunity for us.
You mentioned the excitement just of this Utah hockey club in Utah, where they're going to be playing in Salt Lake. And I'm curious too, if you maybe will see some draw from fans coming from there to watch this team play. Some of the diehards might be making their way over.
We'd love to see it. You never know. I mean, obviously that's a little further distance. That's the great thing too, being affiliated with the Minnesota Wild, them just not being that far and them just about selling out every game. We do see people travel down for a weekend or for a couple of days and watch games. Could people technically come in from Utah? It's possible. Preseason schedule's condensed, so I believe they play in Utah pretty quickly after our game.
Okay.
But you might see some of that, and I just think it's a neat thing. Like you're going to see a New Jersey, you're going to see a new franchise in Val and Des Moines, and going back to our conversations with the Coyotes in October, I never would have imagined that.
Matt, it's been interesting going through the process because, Chris talked to the Arizona Coyotes for months and months, and we thought we were in a good spot, to get the game announced and on sale. And then, we started meeting internally just to start coming up with the questions that we were going to have to ask the team. What do we do about media credentialing? Are you bringing your staff along? Are you going to bring your merch? We couldn't even get all those questions answered. And then the sale happens. And so then all of a sudden it's, well, what if Utah doesn't want to come to Des Moines? And so you're kind of in limbo. And then once, Chris got that figured out with the team, now you're in the Stanley Cup final and they're going through that. And then the NHL draft just happened last week. And so there's been a little bit of a lag where there's a lot to do up in Utah. So we've still got a long list of things that we're trying to work out with Utah and probably will be for a couple of months.
You've seen really some growth within the NHL too. I know they expanded to Seattle and Vegas a few years ago, and Vegas has done really well with their expansion team. I know the NHL just had their draft, as you mentioned. I saw some of the pictures coming out of the Sphere, I think is where they had it there. Pretty cool. So the NHL is right. I mean, they got to a great, it was a great Stanley Cup final. Went to Game 7, and the NHL is trying to build on that momentum. Chris, I'm curious too, as you talk about this game coming in September, is there anything that's going to maybe be planned around this game? Anything that's going to be happening in and around the arena that people can look forward to?
Yeah, and I think Adam's right. That's still all in the works. I mean, we're trying to get the main logistics. I think now at least we have figured out, and we've got this game on sale, and it's great. And going back to that for people that haven't had an opportunity to take a look, like we are up on sale to the public. It is through HiVTix. The neat thing about this is because we're essentially organizing and promoting this game, we had the control on the ticket prices. For that average maybe hockey fan that's like, wow, the NHL is going to be too expensive. Yeah. Our ticket prices range from $20. You can get a really good ticket in the 200 level for $20, up to $90 for glass seats. And we did that on purpose, right? Like this isn't one where it's like you're trying to break the bank and making money. We're trying to get people in the building to be able to watch hockey and watch the sport in a month where we're a lot slower. So hopefully it grows the sport, gets more interest even for the Iowa Wild. And like that was the philosophy behind it. So I think that was cool. As far as some other things go, we do know this. Community Choice is the presenting sponsor. So they're going to have a big part in helping push this game. If you know anything about those guys and Choice Creative, their marketing arm, they're very, very creative. So we'll have some special things going on. As of now, we're not planning a block party or anything like that, but we will have 90-minute doors. And I think similar to how the Iowa Wild do it, we hope to put on a good show inside the arena.
Yeah, for sure. This is really cool. I mean, I grew up in San Jose, so we had the Sharks in our backyard. So I went to a ton of hockey games, and to see professional hockey really is a cool experience. It's a lot different than watching it on TV. You turn on ESPN and you see hockey going on, but to be in the building for high level hockey really is a cool experience. So really do encourage people to get those tickets and come down to the arena.
One of the cool parts about coming down to this preseason game is you're probably going to watch the next NHL champion. If you look back to 2018, we do that preseason game, then the Blues win the Stanley Cup. You look back to the Warriors in the NBA preseason game that they played here, then, they happened to win the NBA championship there in Steve Kerr's first year. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, pretty good bet if you want to get on your DraftKings app and maybe take a look.
Yeah, for sure. And as we talk about too, the great things that have come through this state just recently, we had NASCAR down at the Iowa Speedway, professional sports. You guys have brought in NBA talent. We'll talk about this in a minute with the Minnesota Timberwolves coming in October as well. But this really is cool. Iowa, Des Moines being kind of known as the minor league capital of the U.S., but we do have these cool opportunities where we get to bring in these professional these sports and show them what we got and come out and really support and show that Des Moines and Iowa really cares about professional sports.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, a lot has to do with to get these opportunities and sustain them. Like you have to have interest, right? And then this region supports what we do at the Iowa Event Center, the iCubs, just about everything that goes on. And it's great. And that's why people want to come back, whether it's an artist or a sports team or whatever. We sell tickets, and I feel like we put on a good show. And I feel like people get into town if they're coming from out of town and they love it. The people who live here kind of know what we have already. So it just says a lot about this region and the demand for entertainment. And they support it. They really do. They come out across the board. So many different good venues here, in center part of the state. So it's been really good.
You mentioned too, Extreme Arena that's out in Coralville too. Is there? I know there's a team that plays out there as well too that you guys are kind of affiliated with as well, right? In that arena.
Yeah, they do. It's the Heartlanders. It's the hockey team that's a step below, and they feed right into what we do here in Des Moines with the Iowa Wild. So it's all connected, So them to us to Minnesota, and that's fantastic. In addition, it's a great venue if you haven't been to it. There's a field house. Green State Family Fieldhouse is connected to Extreme Arena. Yep. We host girls state volleyball and girls state wrestling. University of Iowa women's volleyball. It's a great building for that. It's one level. Capacities around 5,000 seats, and it really is a good building, and it's nice having another affiliate. Like we have the Heartlanders right over there, so when somebody needs to be called up from Coralville, again, just a short ride over to Des Moines.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, it's September 22nd, a Sunday, Wells Fargo Arena, the Utah Hockey Club, their very first professional, a competitive game at Wells Fargo Arena against the St. Louis Blues. Get your tickets at highvtix.com. You got anything else, Adam?
I think one of the main things is youth hockey has been growing exponentially in the market as well. And, for those youth hockey teams and clubs that want to take in the NHL game, we also have group discounts available. So If you've got a group of 10 or more, as Chris already talked about the economics of it and cheap ticket prices, I mean, you get steeper discounts the more tickets you buy, and you can just reach out to us at the Iowa Event Center for info on that. I think that's important to talk about. And then I think, maybe you mentioned the NBA preseason game coming up in October as well. So right now the Wolves are working towards that and looking at season tickets and packages to sell that game. But, later on this summer, we'll have tickets going on sale for the Wolves versus the 76ers.
Very cool. Yeah, and I just saw news that Luka Garza is returning to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So big news for Iowa Hawkeye Timberwolves fans as well that are looking forward to that game.
Yeah, if they can re-sign Monte, then we've got both
Okay.
schools represented here in that game. And then with Nick Nurse coming back as the coach of the 76ers, I think it should be fun.
The Timberwolves were one of the more fun teams to watch this season, especially into the postseason too. So that'll be really cool. Those tickets, as you mentioned, will be coming online pretty soon, right?
I would guess so. Yeah, the Wolves will be communicating that out through the Iowa Wolves, and my guess is now that the NBA draft is done and Minnesota can take a look at that a little bit closer, they'll be getting everything set and ready to get out for single game tickets for that one as well.
Awesome, Chris Connolly, general manager at the Iowa Event Center. Thanks for hopping on All Access with us.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right, cool. It's really cool to learn about how these events come together, and this is a big one. I mean, coming in September, not too far down the road. NHL hockey coming back to Iowa, to Central Iowa, to Des Moines, to Wells Fargo Arena.
Yeah, it is a big one. There's so much excitement about the NHL with that 7-game series, and with the draft going to the Sphere. I thought it might be kind of fun, Matt. I know you're big into music. Yeah. Obviously, U2 opened the Sphere with 40 shows. They got Dead & Company going through. I think their total is going to be 30 by the time they're done. The Eagles are going to be out there from September through December. So if you could see any band in the Sphere and take in that experience, who would you go see?
Oh man, are we talking like bands that are active right now, or
let's say realistic? Who do you want to see book the Sphere and experience that venue for the first time?
I mean, wouldn't Paul McCartney be really cool in that kind of setting? Like, just think about all the great Beatles songs and stuff that you could play in that arena. And like, I think the Beatles is just, they had the Strawberry Field and stuff, like all the great visuals that they had. Like, I think Paul McCartney would be a really cool show. God, I'm trying to think of other ones that I've seen, like artists that I've seen. I mean, you guys have Pink coming. I mean, that would be cool. I mean, I don't know about the kind of like acrobatics they could do in the Sphere. Figure they probably could do something like that. What about you? Anyone on your mind?
You said McCartney, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that would be cool to see. I think Garth would be a good show there. I mean, he's already done a ton of stuff in Vegas, and seeing how he could sell it. And it's kind of hard to separate, somebody you want to see versus somebody you think could do a residency like that out there for that long.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you could have a pretty good show with like
Taylor Swift would be fantastic. I mean, I don't know if she's playing that type of venue now, but I don't know. What does the Sphere hold?
I would guess 20,000 or so.
Okay.
But I mean, to do 40 shows, I know Vegas is a big place and a tourist destination, but that's still a ton of shows to sell tickets to over the course of months and months.
The thing with the Sphere is like, you have to have somebody that has the visuals around it too and stuff that they can put on that. Cause that's the whole, it's like an immersive experience. Like like you said, like the Dead & Company, they were basically like flew a drone camera like through San Francisco. So you were basically like flying through the city. So that was pretty cool. But even like Elton John, I feel like, I know he's kind of doing his like farewell tour, but who knows? He would be a cool one too.
That would be good. Or a Billy Joel, somebody that's got a big catalog. You can just enjoy the show for a couple hours. I think would be great. So
yeah, that is cool. Cool. Well, I know you looking back, you guys wrapped up Parker McCollum, a big country music act that came through the arena. How did that show go?
That show was great. I mean, it was about 6,500 people. It looked great in there. We sold the lower level for that one only in anticipation, and it was a great crowd. He puts on a fantastic show, so he's somebody that's up and coming. And we had the opportunity to present him with a gift, and you never know what the reaction is going to be, but when you go in and present the gift and they're appreciative of it, and I think the quote was, "Oh, this is much better than some of the crap I get out on the road." I thought that
you guys do a great job at that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's something we take pride in, and you don't always. What do you get? Somebody who could get anything they wanted, and so trying to make it personal or do something for the crew instead of the individual artist is always fun too. But that one we found a good, unique gift, and the team here did a great job putting it together.
Another show that got announced since we last recorded, Alabama is coming October 19th with special guest Exile. That's another big one that you guys are going to have coming this fall.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fun show. It's on a Saturday night, so you can't beat a concert in the fall on a Saturday night. Ticket sales went over pretty well at the beginning, still available in all price levels though. So, they've been touring for 50 years. And so you come out and you get to hear a lot of those old country classics that they perform. And I think, people seem to be excited about seeing Alabama.
You guys have Barry Manilow coming August 1st, Five Finger Death Punch August 19th, and Luke Bryan, another August show there, August 24th. That'll be another one. George Burge, Larry Fleet, Chase Beckham, special guest with him on that show, the Mind of a Country Boy tour.
Yeah, and that's a big show, but we do have an update since I gave you that graphic. Actually, Larry Fleet is not on that show anymore, so I need to get you a new graphic. Tucker Wetmore took over for Larry Fleet on that show, so that's
nice.
That's my bad with the old graphic there, but Tucker Wetmore has replaced Larry Fleet on the Luke Bryan show, which people seem to be excited about.
Yeah, you guys I know had been trying to get Luke Bryan for a long time. I know he's played a few Iowa shows before, but that should be another good one coming in August. So we're gonna
it seemed like every time we would go to book him, it was like, oh, farm tour now. We're going to Colfax, or we're going to Boone, or playing Cedar Falls. So he was on the calendar during COVID when that happened, and so then it just one more thing that delayed Luke Bryan coming. So we're excited to have him finally take his first trip to Wells Fargo Arena, even though he's been in Central Iowa before.
Nice. Well, again, if you want to learn anything about the Des Moines Community Classic that we talked about with Chris Connolly, head back to the beginning of this podcast. Well, you're already probably there. It's okay. That's coming again. Just a reminder, September 22nd, a Sunday. St. Louis Blues are playing the Utah Hockey Club, their very first game as a professional team in Utah. So really cool stuff coming through Wells Fargo Arena. Adam, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, just get out and enjoy the summer. There's a lot of great live music throughout the community, whether you're talking about, a small community celebration, or you're talking about the concerts they have coming up at IndyCar, or getting out to Vibrant. There's a lot going on. Hinterland as well, I know we've talked about. So
Lordson Amphitheater's got some great outdoor shows.
So. Yeah, 8035. So there's a plethora of live musical acts here in Central Iowa. Thanks for supporting those, and continue to get out there and enjoy them.
Awesome. Well, for Adam Flack, I'm Matt Van Winkle signing off from the Channel Seed Studios. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of All Access presented by the Iowa Event Center.